We are live now on all the three platforms, so I'm trying to share the links to our various groups.
I get the notification for YouTube. Let me check for
YouTube. Okay.
Facebook.
Okay. You're back, Mr. Kami.
Yes,
Thank
I
you
am. Yeah.
once again.
Many thanks, man, bro.
Yeah. I think now we can start the program because we've at least got a minimum of 10 watching the program direct. So
Okay.
perhaps they will start joining us very shortly.
Okay. And your Facebook Live is on as well?
Yeah, it is on now. We are live
Okay.
on all our three platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Okay. So I'll just get my PC connected. Just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, so I am all yours now. We can get started if you don't.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Kanye. Good afternoon, viewers. This is another episode of the Gasam Special Bantaba. On this episode today, we will be delving in the we'll be delving into career guidance and counseling and overcoming the barriers of success in the Gambia. And our guest for today's episode is Mr. Mohammed Kani and then Mr. Usman El Kamara. So I welcome you to the program. So my co-host, on the other hand, is Isaac B. Job. So hopefully we'll have a very informative and interactive session today. So without further ado, I will just take a few minutes to introduce our honorable guests. First of all, I would like to introduce Mr. Kani, who is not that well known to many Gasamians here because even though he has once been in Morocco, according to him, that was in 2019, where he came to attend one of the programs that was organized by I forgot exactly what the name of that particular African or Pan African association. He said, but then in 2019 he attended one program in Rabat. So it was a pleasure having him, even though we were new by then. But I want to believe Usman, you once have met this gentleman.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you, man. So I will just give us a short rundown of Mr. Kanye's achievements and experiences. Mr. Kanye is a very phenomenal youth and leader in the Gambia and to all Gambian students, especially. So he has a very rich leadership track record and achievements, among which are winning the Yali Spirit Award in 2018, which just recently concluded. If you might know, just recently the African Youth Architect conducted a similar award ceremony. This was one that he won in Ghana. That was in the 2018. So, which shows that Mr. Kanye is actually a very exemplary youth to all Gambians. So the second achievement is okay. This award was given to him in Ghana in 2018. So Mr. Kanye is also a champion national ethical leader, model development in Banjul award winner in 2019. Mr. Kanye is also a national champion in debate and public speaking award winner in 2019 Banjul. He is also a corporate leadership award winner in Lome, that is the capital of Togo, in 2019. Among his experiences are also serving as the former president of the United States Exchange Program Alumni Network, the Gambia. He is equally a trainer in ICT and leadership and public speaking. So, Mr. Kanye, thank you very much for joining us in this program once again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jallo. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So, on the other hand, we have Mr. Usman El Kamara, who is known to all Gazamians for his outstanding sacrifice and always being there when it comes to leadership in the association. Mr. Usman Kamara has served as the Secretary General of the Gambian Students Association in Morocco, Gasam, sometimes in 2020. So currently he is serving as a member of the auditory board of the association, which is the G3 as we call it in our association here. So Mr. Kamara, for his activeness in the association, last year he was awarded as the most active member of the association. He also won an award as the critic of the year. So Mr. Kamara, thank you very much for joining us in this session today.
Thank you, Ibrahim. It's a pleasure to be here all the time.
So without further ado, I will allow my co-host to give us a brief overview of the discussion today. And from there, we let in our special guest to, you know, give us a rundown of the event, inshallah. Thank you so much. I say you are welcome.
All right, thank you so much, Ibrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope we are all doing great. And welcome to yet another Gasam special Bantaba. This is the episode 8. It's a monthly webinar series organized by the Gambian Students Association in Morocco. The focus of this episode is on career guidance and counseling, with a specific emphasis on overcoming barriers to success in the Gambia. And today, our guests, we have Mr. Mohammed Kani and Mr. Usman Kamara, as introduced already by my co-host. And they will share their insights on navigating the challenge and opportunities of pursuing career in the Gambia. And also, viewers will have the chance to interact. You can start sending in your question for our guests. And our guests too, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. We look forward to having a very great session. Thank you so much. Back to you, Graham.
Thank you so much, Isa, for that brief rundown. And now we will give the platform to Mr. Kanye to come forth and okay, before we move on, Mr. Kanye, let me just disturb him here a little bit. He said at some point he was in Morocco, that was in 2019, just to attend an event here. So I believe he's not that, even though he is a guest, but he is not that new when it comes to, his relationship with Gambian students in Morocco. So once again, man, thank you so much for being here. So you are welcome. The floor is yours, man.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jallo. My colleague here, Mr. Kamara Osman, Aisha B. Job, and everyone watching. Beautiful listeners, it is a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. Mr. Jallo, you're right. I actually visited Morocco in 2019. I think this should be in December. It was to attend the All Africa Students Union Summit that was held in Morocco. And I was in the company of about 4 other UTG Students Union executive members at the time. It was a splendid time. Obviously, I met Mukhtar Jallo, who was quite very helpful to us, and Mr. Kamara and few other Gambians who were very much supportive.
I think that's a little bit of connections issues. So you can just be patient with us. I mean, hopefully he'll be back soon, inshallah. Usman, I think before Mr. Kanye join us back, you are welcome to the platform. You just have a few words before we delve into the program, inshallah.
Thank you very much. You might want to text him on down to quit and come back again. Perhaps that will make things faster before his connection has been restored.
Surely, I will do that. Thank you, man. There was a little bit of connections interruptions.
The
Welcome back.
Gambia internet connection can be embarrassing sometimes. I'm really sorry.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry. We understand.
So is Osman proceeding now?
You might continue on why you stopped.
Okay, so I was about to just conclude by saying we had a nice time with the Gambia students fraternity in Morocco at the time. We enjoyed some great Benachin as well. So that's just an intro, and let me hold on to get the questions. We move into the program proper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kanye. Usman, before we move forward, you can also kindly come forward and have a few words with the viewers.
All right, thank you very much, Ibrahim, and then Aisha too for having us here today. And it's a good pleasure to see our elder there, Mr. Kanye, today again on Gasam platform to share his insight on career guidance and then counseling. It's a good program, a team that I will commend the executive for coming forward with this, knowing the benefit it can acquire for the Gambian students in Morocco as well, as all of us are looking forward to explore the career path there. So I think it's a good thing to bring forward a young dynamic man like him who is already in the system trying to share his insights on what he know and then what advices he can offer. So we all hope to looking forward to learning good things here and then share whatever we have together. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Usman. And again, we will go back to Mr. Kanye for him to at least take us through, I mean, the whole concept or the whole team that is career guidance and overcoming barriers to communication in the Gambia. Oh, I think he quit encore.
Times connection in Gambia can be a little bit unfortunate. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
So,
definitely.
if he is having problem with the video, maybe perhaps he can drop the video and comment through audio. When it gets better, he can on the video back again. That normally works.
Yeah, he is even back, man. He's back.
This is already embarrassing from the Gambia.
That is a, it's a reality, man. But it's okay, man. You know, we can make do with it.
So let's have your question again.
Yeah, so basically, I was just saying, I mean, for you to give us a brief presentation on what the whole idea or the team is about. I mean, the career counseling and, I mean, the overcoming barriers to success in the Gambia. For you to give us a brief rundown of it. From there, we proceed with our questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Basically, when you talk about career guidance and counseling, in its practical sense, you are looking at a mentor and mentee relationship. It is one person who is inspiring another. It is one person who is inspiring a team. It is one person who is inspiring a group. That's what you look at. Now, the career guidance itself, a mentor mentee relationship, will be looking at few elements. And one of them that you need to establish in that relationship is what we refer to as SIP. And SIP is spelled as SIP. What you try to uncover in your mentee is the strength of the mentee. And strength here looks at something that this mentee is able to achieve effortlessly. When we say effortlessly here, meaning something that this mentee can do without having to exert a lot of psychological and mental pressure in attaining. So there are some people who are very, very good in mathematics, for example, in physics, for example, in chemistry, for example. But they listen to a topic today, they watch a presentation of their instructor today, and for the rest of the term, even if that is 3 or 4 months, probably they may not come back to that topic more than twice or 3 times, but to a greater extent, they will be able to remember most of the topic, and they can comfortably sit to the exams without having to suffer much. That is what you refer to as somebody's strength. Okay? Now, on the other hand, you as the mentor also needs to understand what is the interest of this mentee. An interest here is something that you have the feeling, the ardent desire to learn, to study, and to practice to a greater extent. So I have an interest of becoming a lawyer. For example, you want to ensure that you study law. You want to read more books. You want to have lawyers as your friends so that they become your coaches, your mentors, and your counselors. The mentor is supposed to understand and realize this in his mentee. Another thing that you need to understand from mentee is what you refer to as his passion. So passion is more of an excitement. So mentee's relationship with mentor must uncover these things in prior times, because it is going to be on the basis of that on which you are going to advise this individual on what he can do to succeed and what he would definitely find challenging in his career, and you may want him to avoid that. Now, all these things are distinct. The strength is something you do effortlessly. The interest is something that you are so much willing to learn, that urge for you to study, that urge for you to become perfect. Passion, on the other side, is a feeling of excitement towards something. So you may have a passion for football, but you're not a good footballer. So you cannot confuse interest with passion. And unfortunately, most people do. That is one thing. The second thing, for us to better understand the theme, is that we expect a mentor to be someone established or to a greater extent has good or adequate knowledge in what he is coaching or counseling or mentoring somebody on. Because if you really do not have adequate knowledge on the area, then you are better not serving as a good mentor to that individual. Now, when we are able to establish these things in our mentees, then we will be able to make career choices or influence their career choices. And when we do, we will be looking at them having the possibility or increasing their chances, enhancing the possibility of them doing better in their choices. Now, most often than not, you see some people going into career choices not because they have established information about it or it, but because they have had that peer influence. So you start something because your peers influence you in that, but you definitely may not be too good in it. Meaning you may not have the strength to continue. So when the going gets tough, most often than not, you are found lacking there, and then you start complaining, "Wow, this is too difficult." No, it is not too difficult. You may not be cut for it, or you probably aren't putting in adequate adequate support. You may not get into adequate support, or you may not be putting in adequate what's the best adjective for it? Adequate effort to get this thing moving. And until we are able to establish the distinction between what our strength, our interest, and our passion is, it will be difficult for us to have a way forward in acting a very good career for ourselves and for the people that we support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kani. That it's indeed a very important aspect of the theme for today's discussion. I mean, you haven't mentioned the relationship between mentor and mentee. I mean, it's indeed something that people can learn from, and this career guidance uh, cannot actually be something useful or cannot be something successful if one lacks a mentor. I mean, one cannot. It's very difficult considering our realities, especially in the Gambia, for one to know from a very a young level that this is actually what I'm passionate of doing, and this is what I'm coming to do. And when at some point the system that is set beside to help us, I mean the educational system, to help us to actually realize this particular, I mean the path that we should be doing, I mean it's at some point not helping us to actually be even able to identify our those career path. So it this mentor and mentee relationship is indeed a very important thing. So Usman, if you have anything to add on that particular point that this guy highlighted, you're welcome before we move to the questions.
All right, thank you very much, Ibrahim, and then Mr. Kanye for giving us that brief and then insightful introduction to the topic. Just to elaborate on a few points of his, you have to we're gonna put these things into context and reality right now. When you talk about career guidance and then counseling, has as he said has to deal with two sides, the mentee and then the mentor. How did the mentor provide options, alternatives for the mentee based on his or her interests and then the passion, as he said, what the individual is capable of doing within the personal circumstances. But now, relating it to Gambia, I think the exploitation of this part is very, very limited based on the system that is in fact in place. We'll take a basic example in the Gambia. After grade 9, you will see students, the smartest, the people with the best results. The system kind of directly push them to be science students. The average is dictating them to be commerce students. Maybe those with the lesser will go to the arts. But it's only few circumstances people with good results will desire to go to which other uh, sector because based on the type of guidance they have from the family level or from an individual. That in the first place, the system is not helping in that career part of what individuals supposed to have. So you will end up having a very youthful nation on careers that might not necessarily be their passion, or it's not necessarily their interest, or that it's not where their strength lies. So you have people underexploited. So you're gonna have full potentials of individuals out there in the job market at the end of the day. That is the failure of a greater system. But having a system like that, what alternative do we need to have? Is this career guidance, mentorship, and then other things like individuals can come in, be a mentor to someone else, but based on the individual's interest and their potential. So one thing that also it's a critical point in career guidance, relationship between mentee and a mentor is most of the cases are imposing personal bias coming from the mentors. It's crucial to remain objective and not to let personal biases influence the guidance provided to the mentee. You have to encourage individuals to explore their own interests and strengths rather than imposing your own preferences on them. You might be in a particular field, understand the dynamics, but that particular field has a lot of dynamics on that. But providing that counsel or guidance to the mentee, you should be able to look at the interests, as Mr. Kanye said, of the mentee, not just imposing your own why you think that is the best for the individual. Perhaps you have to look at their strengths and their interests as well. That needs to align. Perhaps their interests and then their strengths is not exactly as the mentor. So that thing is a common trick that people falls into when it comes to this career advice part and other things. And then also one thing when it comes to career guidance supposed to be a lack of individualization. Every person is unique in their own ways. So with different skills, interests and aspirations. So one needs to avoid one size fits all approach when it comes to this mentorship program. One size fits all that you think this is it you're gonna give it to trying to mentor different individuals at the same time, trying to use the same methodology on them. but you have to look at their own interests and you tailor the guidance to each individual specific needs and then the goals. I think that is very, very important when it comes to achieving something from career guidance and things like that. So basically, I think it has to do on both sides, from the mentee and then the mentor. Also, one major thing in career guidance is about ignoring personal circumstances. That too has to do with the mentor has to consider the individual's personal circumstances. My mentee, what is his or her personal circumstances, such as financial constraints, family responsibilities or health issues, uh, failing to acknowledge these factors can result in unrealistic or unattainable recommendations to the mentee. So you really need to know both sides. What is the interest of the individual, as Mr. Kanye said? What is the individual's goals? What is his or realities, his circumstances, based on the career the individual wanted to pursue? You already on the mentors need to have knowledge based on that career path. What are the ways possible in that place, to be able to provide those guidance to the individual. So basically, for now, I think he really opened up the topic for now, so we can move to the question and answer.
Yes, thank you very much, Usman, for that wonderful insight. I think from what I have heard from the both of you, you've elaborated on the interest and personal circumstance. And then there's one important thing that Mr. Kanye highlighted is the knowledge. At some point, I feel like the knowledge is something. It's a very important component when it comes to these mentors and mentee relationship, because in order for one to be in a position to offer a mentorship guidance, you have to be somebody who have a background of what you are actually mentoring in. So I think I will welcome you to also, I mean, perhaps drop down some questions for them, and or if you want to make any comment on what they have both elaborated on, you are welcome.
Yes, thank you so much, Ibrahim. And thank you, Mr. Mohammed and Mr. Usman. So far, you have given the best overview of the challenges and opportunities of career. Okay, sorry. So far, is the best overview given. So I think we have so much to learn from, and I think we can. What I have to add on to that is, please give us some of the challenges that students face when it comes to opportunities for career development, especially the limited job opportunities in the Gambia. Mr. Mohammed, you can go first.
So your question, if I get you right, is what are some of the challenges that students face when it comes to in relation to our limited choices? Is it correct? Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So Usman highlighted something as a recap of my intro, and that is human biases. Now, this is very, very it's quite key. You see, in career guidance and counseling, when you talk about somebody's strength, his interest, and passion, you relate it to the very many options that are available in the market, right? Now, let's say there are 10 opportunities, 10 job openings, and so on. You try to narrow this down to maybe three very good opportunities that will confidently and comfortably relate with the person's strength, his interest, and passion. Now, when you narrow it down to those three, you have to be more open minded as a mentor here. It is quite possible that this candidate may not be a perfect fit to all that three, but at least he would be a perfect fit to one out of the three. Now, that one out of the three becomes his priority, and the other two become secondary options. So, if he is trained to become
the best in that on that priority list, then the chances are that he will overcome a lot of difficulties and challenges and limitations. He will overcome most of them because psychologically he's got the strength and mentally he's got the interest, right? In order to pursue whatever this field entails. Now, when it comes to challenges, peer influence is actually one of the challenges, but also limited market itself is a challenge. Now, supposedly somebody wants to become a chemical engineer, for example. He is in the Gambia, he's gone to grade 9, past 6 A's or 8 A's, whatever it is, grade 12, 8 A's. He wants to become a chemical engineer, and then at the level of the University of the Gambia, there is a problem. Meaning he may not probably have that kind of a program here in the Gambia. Now, if we say this person comes from a poor background, like a crazy Nyobinka guy, well, I'm from Jara, you can excuse that. So then there is a bigger problem. The bigger problem is, how do you explore your passion and your interests when finance becomes a barrier? In addition to finance, the unavailability of the program becomes another barrier. So that is one of the barriers. And the solution to that is, when we prepare our mentees, we should not prepare them only for the Gambian market. We should prepare our mentees to have the ability to compete even at the international level. The logic is simple. The world has become a global village that you have hundreds and thousands of scholarships in almost every area, especially on the STEM areas. So when you prepare your mentee to actually go there and expound on his expertise, break the barrier, become an excellent individual in his choices, you are psychologically also preparing him for the international market. And I am not talking about brain drain here. I am talking about the instance when Gambians would explore to the highest level their potentials in the Gambia, and when they feel that they do not have adequate market, they break the ceiling, break the barrier, go to the international community, still become the best of the participants, and come back home in order to implement what they have learned. There are some of you in Morocco who definitely top your classes. The entire university will be looking up to you as the best of students. You may not have that kind of opportunity to do certain courses that you're doing in Morocco, in Uganda, possibly. Some of the courses that our students will be doing in China, in America, in Europe, on scholarships, they may not have those kind of opportunities to do such courses in the Gambia. Therefore, as a mentor, when you prepare your mentee, you equally prepare him to expound on his skills. You know, they say you have not started dreaming if your dreams don't scare you. Do you understand that feeling? So train your mentees to feel that, you know what, I am capable of doing anything. I can attain anything. I can achieve anything. In fact, I can be the best in anything that I want to be. This is an area that I am so much passionate about. Please, moderator, stop me if you think I am talking too much. Oh God. Okay.
I
So
really
so
good,
we
man.
talked about, so those are some of the limitations. Another limitation we will be looking at is not only the finance and not only the unavailability of courses, but sometimes the unavailability of resources as well. Now, somebody wants to become a bioengineer, for example. He probably would have gone to the US or Europe or China and did some bit of studies, maybe at bachelor's level, because he's got the best of scores in grade 12. He's got a scholarship, went out there to do a BSc in bioengineering, for example. But he comes back to Gambia and the environment is not there for him to expound on those skills that he has earned outside. That is another challenge. Because what happens is he's kept at the same level from where he left off when he finished his studies outside. He comes to the Gambia, he really wants to break the ceiling, but the environment is not created for him. That is also another challenge. So we are looking at not only the finance, but we are also looking at the unavailability of resources. We are looking at the poor environment in our case. And finally, we can also look at another aspect as a challenge, which is the unavailability of certain programs that people want to expound on or explore at tender ages. Now we have to understand that you do not build a career in 1 year or 2 years. No, a career actually spans a longer period. You're talking about you studying probably 4 years on BSc, probably 2 years for your master's degree. And if actually you transition from grade 12, 4 years into BSc, 2 years into master's, when we will safely conclude that you may not have had adequate job experience. Do you understand? And then those kind of things actually happen now. Somebody has finished grade 12 with the best of results, bam, he gets a scholarship. Went to the UTG for 4 years, bam, he gets another scholarship for master's degree. Meanwhile, he has not even started working yet. Now, what is his level of expertise and experience? On the job experience, that's what I mean. For him to say, I am building a career, a lasting career in this. In quote, it is questionable because a career is not built by the amount of knowledge or probably books that you would have read, but on the job experience that you would have also earned along the line. Now, job placement is also a difficulty in this country. Somebody is doing something on economics. He's doing his BSc on economics. He finishes. He's never gotten any job. He's never gone anywhere to find a job. Or probably he sends on applications and he's never been lucky to get a job. Within that, he gets lucky, gets a scholarship, goes out to study for an extra 2 years on his master's. Meanwhile, that is 6 years of studies after grade 12. He's never had that opportunity to work. He said, "I have adequate experience now to consider this to be my lifetime career." And this is the reason why, to a greater extent, we do not have we do not have many seasoned individuals in their areas of expertise. So these are some of the limitations that are actually hindering our progress as a country in exploring many options that we have out there. Over to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. That is indeed a very great and plain explanation of the challenges that Gambian students face in the Gambia, considering the limited opportunities they have. Back to you, Usman, if you have something to add on to same question for you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think that was quite an insightful one, a reality for all of us to reflect upon. I just like always to take things from a global perspective as well. Realities of the Gambia, you know, as he said, sometimes it's about the opportunities available. That's a great barrier when it comes to career path in the Gambia. Let's look at it from after independence in the 60s or 70s. Gambia was just struggling for political independence. It was more about political independence. People are studying law, maybe political science at that initiation start. In the late 80s to 90s, it was more about independent freedom. You know, people are studying a lot of economics and then things of that nature. Those were the career opportunities available at that time. But yet still, the dynamics did not change from that time coming to this extent. Right now, the world is moving into science and technology. How do we explore a lot of those career paths available to students in the Gambia? That is not doing. The system is not helping in that aspect. Still now, the system is being narrowed down. Look at the statistics. How many students are graduating in UTG every year? How many lot of political science students are graduating? What are the number of job market for the political science students? How many economic students are graduating? A lot of number of them. But why are we not exploring other options within those fields? That is the fault of the greater system. Create job paths in that area so that students can have a lot of diversifications. They can have a lot of job market. Those are realities. Your minor story is something at the end of the day you don't have any job market to apply the knowledge or to live by to have a career. That is hindering a lot of career paths in the Gambia. There is no greater system that has been providing opportunities for students to explore. When it comes to the sciences, when you graduate in grade 12, one thing you comes to all in mind good results is medicine. Second is I don't know how they call it, the state registered nurse SRN. From there you go to Master Congo nursing, or at the latter part you're doing uh, maybe public health, or you go to UTG, you are in the biology student, biology major, or chemistry, or physics, mathematics. What else? No options again. Within those options, there's a lot of specializations. When you go outside beyond Gambia, students can explore a lot in those aspects. Some of us, when we graduated, is the system that directly pushed us to do medicine. In Gambia, we did medicine. Coming to Morocco, it was like we're supposed to do medicine here. But when you come, there's a lot of diversifications that you see, a lot of alternatives. In UTG, when you say biology, it's only biology in general. But there's a lot of immense diversifications in biology that you, when you see, you will love to do. Today, you will not put medicine before me, I will choose. I'm going to choose what I'm doing right now. But that option was never known to me in the Gambia. That is a failure of a system that is not providing that to the people. So for us to provide a greater, field for students to choose upon to have a career path upon, I think we need to provide those systems. That also the dynamics need to be changing based on the needs of the world. It's a global village. The job market is there. We cannot be creating students just for only Gambia to compete in the international level, that you have to live with the realities of the world. Right now, it's science and technology. How do we inject technology in all these different fields? How do we advance them? In the next 50 years to come, will Gambia need more than 50 economists to manage our central government? That's not possible. Technologies are moving, logistics are coming out of the job market or from people. So how do you build people based on a career path? Career is not just for a short-term thing. It's for a long-term thing. How do you build somebody to live by that career why he will not be kicked out of the market based on a particular innovation that is coming in? I think that is one thing that governments need to look upon. We are choosing careers that might not necessarily last with us in the next 15 years to come if technology has advanced a bit. So that perspective is something that we also have to look upon. How do we sustain this career in the long term? Then that part needs to be exploited in the Gambia. It's not just limited to the resources just available, but it's an entire system that has to come forward to support career paths for students by providing the necessary job market for those career paths. Then students can be exposed to a lot of career options, not just the limited one to be able to make an informed decision. Perhaps if you cannot know whether you are good at something, if you don't know whether that something in fact existed in the first place. So maybe mentors in the country should not just limit guidance to their students based on what is available in Gambia, as Mr. Khan said. Expose them to what is available outside as well. Encourage them to compete for the best they want out of those things. If circumstances do not allow them to fall on what they intend to have that is beyond Gambia, maybe perhaps they can have another alternative to rely upon in Gambia as well. That is one thing we have to look forward to. Maybe all the problem to be solved, it has to deal with creating more of a system. Do we need to choose a career also that is already existing within our limits? Do we encourage people to pick up careers they can build? I don't know whether I'm being sensible here. I wanted to believe, but any career you see around the world is being initiated at some point by individuals. So when we know this individual is really good at this, why not we empower them to give them the vision that is possible? You can create this path. Perhaps if the system is forthcoming, those things are possible, those barriers can be limited. I think that's one key thing I will add to what Mr. Khan said.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. Indeed, I believe that this is the most thing that is disturbing Gambians, especially students right now. I'm sure there are a lot of students right now who are doing courses or they are pursuing a career that they don't even have interest or passion in, but they are doing it because the opportunities are so limited. That is the only thing available. So they just have to go with it, not that they wanted to do it. So I think, like both of you said, we have to work on expanding, even though the opportunity is not there, but just have it in your mind that yes, I could do this. This thing is available, and I could be able to do it sometime in the future. So I think that is very important, and thank you both for highlighting that. And back to you, Ibrahim.
Thank you so much, Aisa. And thanks to them once again. I think they have highlighted very, very vital points when it comes to the challenges that people face in choosing a career path in the Gambia. Among them was, the finance environment also for those that are lucky to at least have a particular area to focus on. After all, when they obtain their knowledge from maybe abroad, as in our case here, because I believe there are students that are doing courses here in Morocco that they might not necessarily have, places to employ them when they get back to the Gambia. That was one of the
Ibra-
challenges that was highlighted
Ibrahim,
by.
if I may wanted to add one thing also that students are generally facing,
Mhm. Sure, you can go ahead,
it has
please.
to do with the willingness of the mentors back home to share what is available in the job market. Perhaps I do not know. This mentality is within Gambians. You will find some people in particular field or particular position, maybe perhaps their qualification it's not up to that high. When you just come to what is on paper, at times it's not just paper, but to have information from people back home when you're away that this is what I want to initiate. But when you know maybe whilst you're at a high echelon, they are very reluctant to provide you with certain information. So that really affects what you're really trying to explore. You don't know what is in the market. People you wanted to rely upon are not forthcoming in sharing information with you. I do not know whether it's don't know whether it's the fear of losing their jobs or what. But I think when you wanted to advance as a people to help individuals, you're supposed to be able to share with them what you are facing right now in the system, so that they can make informed decision. Perhaps they can explore other alternative than what you are narrowed upon. But that we students are facing that outside from Gambia. When you want to seek information in the Gambia that you need to explore a particular career, people you reach out to at times most of the cases they are not forthcoming, especially when they know you are a little bit at a higher level to completion of your particular perhaps masters or PhD. That communication body is very much limited. So as Mr. Kanye said, it's important also to have experience in the market. Maybe from bachelor's degree, you work a little bit, you know what is in the system. You can advance your career based on the experience you have. That will limit it, but you just cannot be doing up to master's degree. You wanted to go and integrate a system while the people there are not in fact willing to accommodate you. It becomes a problem. So perhaps you might have a bigger setback in your choice you're going to make, not just because you don't have the knowledge in that field, but you don't have the experience to apply that knowledge wisely to guide yourself through. So that becomes a problem as well that students do face. I have seen that in a couple of cases. Students reach out to people in positions in Gambia to have some information. Maybe perhaps they have a bachelor's, these guys have a master's. That rapport is not there for them to say a good relation. So I think that's one thing students are do facing in Gambia.
Thank you. Thank you very much for highlighting that, Usman. And I think it is indeed a reality. But there's one thing that should be understood when it comes to that. I mean, all of us, our objective is to learn, go back and employ the knowledge that is gained from our education. So I think perhaps that is something that we as a country are supposed to adjust on, and then we move on to develop our country that through the knowledge that is gained from our studies as students. So you have highlighted very, very important points when it comes to the challenges that people face in choosing a particular career path, among which was finance, which is a major reality when it is in the Gambian context, because there are many people who are actually, having particular careers of career choices. But when it comes to the finance to further, the background or the at the family level, they are not that strong financially to support those particular, people to further those causes that they of their choice. So one of the other points also highlighted was the employment of the knowledge gains, from our studies. Normally here as international students, we are studying diverse courses, some of which, the opportunities are not available back home. So you realize that after studying, you get back home, you don't have, that avenue to employ, the job gain from your studies. So the third challenge that is highlighted was, the lack of job experience, which you just elaborated on, Usman, and the lack of expertise also, in the side of the mentorship, because that was a point highlighted by Mr. Kani. When there is no expertise or knowledge in a particular domain, it's very difficult for one to obtain a mentorship or guidance through that particular domain, even though you are interested in that area. So that is also a challenge. So about the information about the job market that is just recently highlighted by Usman. So that is also a reality that hopefully in the next years to come, we're gonna advance in it. So moving to the next question, in just a second. Moving to the next question, what are some practical tips or strategies that we can use to overcome these challenges in navigating the Gambian job market? As international students here. The question, let me direct it to Mr. Kanye, since he is the one for us in the Gambia right now.
Can you come again, please? What are some of the tips that you can?
Yeah, what are some of the practical tips that we can navigate? To make sure that, or that we can use to make sure that we navigate the challenges. Of obtaining jobs back in the Gambia.
Well, well, that's a very interesting question. Because among other things is the Gambia's job market is very limited.
Mhm.
That is the reality. Our job market is very limited. Like Osman highlighted, um, when you study medicine here, it's general medicine you're looking at, for example. I'm not an expert in those areas, but somebody who has an opportunity to move out of this country looks at scores, dozens, or probably hundreds of other careers that the person can go into, right? So then it becomes incomparable to what we have back home. If you are into ICT, for example, user skills is the most common ICT training that people do here. User skills like doing some things on software applications, Microsoft Word here, Microsoft Access here, Excel here, and PowerPoint here. And you have some institutions offering that not only at the foundation certificate, but even diploma level. To be very realistic, what do you teach on PowerPoint at diploma level, right? You're talking about 3 months program for a foundation, probably an extra 2 months for a certificate level. Some of the institutions will give you 4 months for a diploma level or 6 months. What do you teach at that level on PowerPoint? Somebody somewhere would actually teach his kid almost the most advanced way of getting your slides done at primary school level. Let's be realistic, right? So what we are talking about is a very limited market. Now, one of the things that you, as an international student, would be looking at is what areas do you think you can explore when you come back home? Because as an international student, if you are opportune to go out there and study and become an expert in what you do, probably one of the best students in certain universities in the world, I would expect that when you come back home, you should be able to create an opportunity for yourself through which you can contribute to nation building. You see, an expert in his area cannot say, I will depend on the government of this country to provide a job for me. If they can, they may probably not be able to pay you. But that is if the job exists in the first place. What Osman says obtains very well, and it is true. It is true that you go into an office and probably the director is a BSc holder or the manager is a BSc holder in an area that you are almost ready for on your with your PhD on. You are done with your master's on. Obviously, naturally, that person feels threatened with your mere presence at his office door. The next time he has an opportunity, he will not even set eyes on you when you come over. So what I am looking at is what would an international student studying biology, what would an international student exploring ICT in Canada, in the US, in Morocco, in China, what would they start thinking of as their contribution to nation building? We have had a lot of Gambians since 2017 who came back home. They have established institutions, they have established offices, private companies, and they are doing extremely well in producing for us the best of programmers that we know, for example. It could be code camps that you organize. These are not going to be free code camps, but they are going to be paid. And that is going to be another source of employment for you, right? We have one of the best code camps on computer programming here, just a code camp. This is run by a young guy who once worked for a telecoms institution in the country. He left his job to focus on training young people on computer programming, and he's doing very well. And obviously, when you look at the financial gains in his training, it is incomparable to what most of our ministers and high-ranking officials would ever gain in this country. But sometimes it is actually not the money. It is also your passion to see that you are adequately able to provide solutions to the problems in this country. How many other program, how do you call it, ICT institutions do we have? You're right, and they're doing extremely well. So you are going to think of what opportunities you can bring on board for our people. Think about the woman boss, training women in entrepreneurship and so on and so forth. So you have to be so crafty. You have to be so crafty with solutions. And when you are out there, sometimes yes, you have the brightest of ideas, because when it comes to cutting edge technology, when it comes to research, the institutions that you are actually in now and the societies you are in now, they provide more information to you in terms of research. Provide more information to you in terms of solutions in the ICT challenges and so on than our country is able to provide. Now, instead of limiting your own skills to the little market that we have, you start challenging yourself. What can I do to become a better individual? What can I do to create job opportunities for hundreds of young people after my master's degree? And you start thinking in that line, and probably coming up with solutions even before you complete your studies, so that when you come back home you are focused on that. Because I tell you for free, and I don't even need to ask for $1 to tell you this. This country is really, really frustrating when you want to start something new. I mean, I am telling you for free. Okay? Save yourself $1 because I'm telling you for free. It is very frustrating when you want to start something in this country. So if you do not have a very clear cut outline on what you want to achieve, it is the system that will frustrate you. I was told of a scenario of somebody who came from Canada and he wanted to establish a business here, and his business is into some tech related issues or so. When he came to the Gambia, he invested a lot of money, and after 3 months, he packed all his stuff and said he's going back to Canada. He lost hope, right? So if you are not psychologically prepared, mentally prepared for it, Osman is laughing. I see no reason how you can be able to break barriers in this country. This country is really, really very tough. Information that you definitely need to write on to make a difference. Information would hardly ever be presented to you on a silver plate. For people who are even doing their masters, wanting to write their thesis, ask them how they suffer to gather information from this country. Some people will be sitting on information. They wouldn't give you the information that you need just because they will feel threatened by that information. Last week, I was speaking to a colleague who is a researcher, and he works for an international firm, but he's resident in this country here. They were tasked to do a research on certain things. And, he told me they went to a certain institution and they uncovered corruption. Now, that's corruption at the highest level, because they instituted a fee over something that was definitely not supposed to attract a fee. And that fee is not going to the state. That fee goes into their pocket. And bro, when he tells you the figures that they saw and how much money those people can be making is into millions of dollars annually. Millions of dollars annually. When they got to that, it was tough for them to share that information. Who wants to have your back, exposed to the whole world? It was tough. But eventually they have to advise a whole institution on this. And somebody from a higher authority had to reach out to those people to say, you know what, we need this information, so provide it. because he who pays the piper calls the tune. So yeah, my landing point to that is, bro, start becoming more innovative in your areas of expertise. Talk to your professors, talk to the people in the industry. Some of them are exposed to other African countries and they know fully well how other people they probably would have mentored maneuvered in their countries to establish what they did. Do not limit your hopes, your choices, and your possibilities or chances to the little and constricted market that we have. If you do, you will be frustrated after 3 months in this country when you walk from one office to the other, one office to the other, one office to the other. Trust me, this is an information that you have not paid $1 for. It is for free. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kanye. Honestly, I mean, this reminds me of the objectives of on which our association is being established. That is the Gambian Students Association in Morocco. We said it is an association which is established to inspire a generation of Gambians who will not depend or ask for what their country can do for them, rather to be independent and take up leadership positions at all levels and develop the country. So it is indeed something that is worth pondering over. I mean, for us to prepare ourselves to be mentally and psychologically strong before getting back home. I mean, to be innovative and come up with, decisions for ourselves that will bring impact to our people back home. So thank you very much for once again highlighting that. Osman, you are smiling. I mean, if you have anything to add on what Mr. Kanye was saying, you are welcome, man.
Yeah, that was quite a good information we have from him there, free of charge. Thank you so much, sir. One thing I wanted to buttress upon it, I am with the belief that we can be the generation to effect change. I'm quite, with that, conviction that is possible from our end. We don't have to debate on the system. It's not just like what is available all the time, but what do we create? That innovativeness, that is one thing I wanted to click on upon all the time. I think it's possible we can be the generation of change, especially expose ourselves. This is one common mistake international students do. You are studying a course that is abundantly available in the Gambia. You still went outside, you are still doing the same thing. Perhaps even you're going to stick into the same thing, but try to diversify yourself a little bit. Try to put your, vision a little bit beyond what is available in the Gambia. But you see, even in Morocco here, some students do that common mistake. They are doing something that is abundantly available in the Gambia. And perhaps you're stopping at the same level that Gambia is stopping at. You're going back to join the same system again. You still have to struggle with the same students again too for the job market. So the creativeness we are talking about, it's not going to be available. So why not when you're outside, you have the opportunity, try to explore a little bit, minimum of a master's in a different thing that it's less available in Gambia, or in a way that you can be much more innovative in that particular field than just doing same that is available in Gambia. Some students do make that mistake. And when you go back to Gambia, you imagine with all the struggles you do outside, you go back home, you still have to struggle again in the system again. I think that is one thing we need to should try to avoid. When you are outside, learn to understand what you are doing, not just theoretical, passing your exams and going home. Compete in your various schools. Try to be the best out of those things. Acquire the skill that is necessary in that, not just on the paper. We all know the standard UTJ perhaps it's not that very much practical when it comes to some particular fields. It's more of a theoretical base. But how do you form yourself in places like Morocco? You have the opportunity to do a lot of practicals to understand to your tip what you were doing in Morocco. When you have the understanding experience of what you are doing, you will not need someone's guidance to create a job. You can do the job yourself. In doing that, you can create an opportunity for others as well. Job market can be expanded. You don't need to compete with others. You create your own path. I believe in that we can create. We don't only have to wait for things to be created for us to follow. People created the systems before us. We can be those people that create new systems based on our experience we have. But in that, you need to do work hard in what if whatsoever you are studying here. Understand what you are doing to your field, not just passing exams and then going. Students do make that mistake as well. You just compete in school just to have the more end of the semester, you are good to go. You shouldn't just stop there. You are a big enough hope for a nation when you go back. We expect to move a little bit a step ahead. because that is why some of us are receiving government staffing here so all the time, even though it's a pittance. But the reality is it's an investment that we have to put a step back home. Putting that step back home, you really have to be very much innovative, as Mr. Karin said. That innovativeness, you really have to be open, learn more. It's not just about what is available at the schools, but try to understand the dynamics of the job market in wherever you are around the world. How do these societies, how are they advancing? What are the type of policies, what are the type of mindset these people are using to advance as a nation? That has to couple with your education, what you do in a particular field, to be able to be innovative in the job market, not just what you are doing on a day. So I think that is very important that student has to really do. We're here, we have the opportunity that many students do not have. Try to utilize it, try to exploit it to the fullest extent. Understand what you are doing, understand the systems that you are in here. How are they able to advance to this particular level? What did they do to arrive at this stage? What are the ways to explore? What are the new options? How do you think in partnership from here to the country you are going back to? What are the relations you can establish here? Sharing of information. You have to establish contacts as well to be able to provide what you needed down there. I think it's very important just to add on what Budella has just said there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the both of you. I think you have both highlighted here a very important point, that is, we should try to be the best of what we should be before getting back to the Gambia. I mean, there's one thing. I mean, one question that I will ask before Isa will come is, or comment that I will make is that there's this mistake that we normally make as students. I mean, that is just focusing on our notes that we get from school, and then we think everything is finished. Focus on your notes, you obtain your bachelor's degree, you go back home without any skills or without any added advantage to you. I mean, you think that you are good because you obtain your degree. I think that is something that we supposed to, I mean, adjust as students, and make sure that we adjust ourselves in all the levels that are necessary, be it soft skills or hard skills that we can add to our CVs, or that we can add to what we can do to make sure that we stand a better chance of doing anything that we want, or being, I mean, even if we are to be employed, at least we can bring added advantage to that particular organization that we have been employing. So learning additional skills, I mean, it's something that is very, very important when it comes to putting yourself at a better level of advancing both in your personal and professional life. So Aisha, you are welcome if you have any question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ibrahim. Just to shed light on what they have said, I think it's very important. We have to take up opportunities to learn new things, because obviously we cannot learn everything in the four corners of the classroom. That is impossible. We have to make extra effort to learn new things, to develop ourselves, soft skills, and other important things that are going to help us in our career and personally in our own lives. So I think now we can just move on to the career development in the Gambia. And that, Mr. Mohammed, what do you think are the various opportunities available for career development in the Gambia?
Yes, just to add on that before he comes, I hope you are hearing us, Mr. Mohammed. Like, okay, thank you, man. Just to add on the question that Isa just asked about the opportunities available for career development in the Gambia. I mean,
Mhm.
are there any specific sectors, for example, when you say the tourism sector, are there any specific sectors that are yet to be exploited? I mean, that one might, or that you might be in a position to advise students to at least focus on, and then make sure that we study those particular areas, so that when we get back home, we can contribute our quota towards the advancement of those particular sectors. Thank you.
Okay, so that is a beautiful question. Let me tell you, telecommunications engineering is a very rich area in ICT, and that is a STEM area. Now, the fact is, we are having a lot of okay, fine, fairly looking at the size of our country, the population of this country. If you have four GSM operators, that is good enough, isn't it? And we do not have a lot of Gambians who have studied to an advanced level to become telecommunication engineers. Most of the people who are telecoms engineers in this country were primarily trained by GAMTEL. Some people started their training at GTMI, and GTMI is the Gambia Telecommunications and Multimedia Institute in Kanifing. It is a subsidiary of GAMTEL. I don't know how many Gambians actually know that telecommunications engineering is a program that you can do in this country. And there is a lot of money in that, and a lot and lot of opportunities if you are one. Obviously, look at the telecoms industry in this country. We have challenges, serious challenges, whether that is infrastructural or human resources. Look at the network issues around. So, if you talk about engineering alone in this country, there are so many opportunities. Now, that's let me just to be very brief. Another thing is under ICT. Think of a program on information system security. For example, there is a program called Certified Information Security Systems in Security Professional. Yeah, it is an information security certification which is granted by the International Information System Security Certification Consortium. Now, this program is very unique, and if you are a professional in this program, your pay is somewhere around 150,000 to almost 175,000 US dollars per annum. That is a lot of money we are talking about. But how many people are actually in this country experts in that area? That's like an advanced level of cybersecurity you're going to be talking about. Now, the fact is that institutions may still be hacked or attacked, even if they have the best of cybersecurity experts. But we have a limited cybersecurity we have limited cybersecurity experts in this country, and that is threatening to our ICT infrastructure. Do you all remember the hacking that happened at the Central Bank of the Gambia? Somebody who has never earned $5,000 in his monthly as his monthly salary got his account credited with $11 million, $20 million, $7 million, $5 million, $2 million because of hacking. Do you understand? These are underexplored parts or fields or programs in ICT, and they are available right in the country here. Now, for example, the CISSP that I just spoke to you about, which is on information system security. Now, that is a program that is offered at GTMI. GTMI is Gambia Telecommunications Company. It's just right opposite BS in Kanifing. GTMI, with a certain number of students or probably applicants, works in collaboration with Afralti in Kenya. It's an ICT institution in Kenya. They work in collaboration with them. They hire expert trainers in this program to come to the country for a 1 week intensive training. You have that here. Now, how many telecoms engineers do we have in QCell? Telecom engineers in GAMCell, in AfriCell, probably who have never had to do their lensings, or professional certifications, for example. So that is an area that could be explored, and you have a lot of Gambians who actually need to do these programs in order to sustain our telecommunications industry. Right? These are important areas. Now, software engineering. It's only today that we have a lot of young Gambians who are very much interested in software engineering, thanks to the boot camps that we have. And software engineering is such that if you are very good at what you do, you don't even need to look for a job in this country. You will probably be working for an international organization, but you are enjoying the comfort of your room in your country. I know of a young Gambian who actually, after graduation from grade 12, he never had the opportunity of going to university. But bro, trust me, this person on YouTube, he would sit down from 12 o'clock at night up to 7 o'clock in the morning. Self-top senior programmer I am telling you about.
He earns a lot of money, picks up contracts all over this country and even beyond the Gambia. Traveled outside this country just because of those skills he earned. And you ask me whether he has gone to the university, I tell you no, he has never gone to any university. Self-taught, because the opportunities are there for you to explore certain areas. So those are some of the things that you will be looking at. Talk about cybersecurity. Now, when you come to the TVET areas as well, there are numerous opportunities, especially with the launching of the USET, the Science and Engineering University. Think about that. Now, think about doing welding, for example, having it integrated into our educational curriculum, that somebody can earn a BSc in welding, somebody can earn a master's degree in welding. I met somebody in Bakote who did his training in Germany on carpentry. He did his training on carpentry in Germany. Bro, if that guy works for you, if he works on your products, no, 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 no. You'll think that it comes from Jara, not Nyomi. I am telling you. First class work is what he does. And he does this with a lot of passion and professionalism. Now think about integrating that as an element into our educational curriculum. Do you all remember when we used to have woodwork, metalwork, and technical drawing at junior secondary schools? It beats your imagination how our country lost track with those beautiful innovations at the time. You would have had people graduating from grade 12 who would have been excellent architects. People would have graduated from grade 12 and they would have been able to start their own carpentry workshops, their own metal workshops, their own wood workshops. They would have been able to feed themselves at the age of 18 and 19. But today you finish grade 12 and you start asking yourself, what am I going to do? Somebody comes ask you, what do you want to do after grade 12? Mandemo mange har sunyu results. So results beginning. And results come out, you get a poor score, and it's like nila yala dogalede. So legi mom haral must study IT rek. Think about that. So even before you start your career, your journey into becoming somebody in life, you have already lost all hopes. This is our problem. If you ask me the solution to it, it is simple. We must go back to the drawing board. Innovations are what built other countries. That is what we must embrace in this country. We have to go back to having woodwork and metalwork and technical drawing incorporated into our school curriculum, so that when people are going to graduate, they graduate with something that they can already develop on to become employers and not employees. I was extremely good in technical drawing at junior secondary school. But because I had no opportunity to explore on this at high school, what happened? I left it, man. Today, just this afternoon, I had to put up a post on Facebook asking for support from somebody or anybody who can just help me draw a simple masjid, something that I would have done if I explored my technical drawing skills. That would have been a source of income for me, isn't it? But I am not able to do that because the society, the country did not give me that opportunity to have explored that beyond grade 12 or even beyond grade 9. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So our issue is revamping the system, going back to what you may call square one or square zero, and dismantling the whole system and start building it again. Otherwise, what we are doing now does not solve our problem. Because right now what we are doing is pages. Sometimes you just have to dismantle everything and start your building. If your foundation is not good, no matter how beautiful your building is, it will collapse. And that is exactly what is happening to our society. If it comes to, for example, institutional corruption, the foundation is not good. And that is why we cannot do away with it. If it comes to limited opportunities and everybody depending on what the government should do for you, is because our foundation is not strong enough for people to become employers. So that is what we have to go back to and actually work on. If we do, then we can probably be able to address most of the challenges that we are facing in this country. But otherwise, what you call a vicious cycle. You start from point one, walk around, come to the same point, walk around, come to the same point, walk around, come to the same point, before you realize it is from morning to afternoon. And then you come back and say, oh yeah, time out already. That does not solve any problem. If I have not answered your question properly, please come up again. Thank you.
Yes, the question is perfectly answered. Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed. I think you have highlighted the best points that Gambians need to hear, especially students that are working on their career right now. And Usman, if you have anything to add on to that, you can please come in.
Yes, I have not been in Gambia for quite a while now, but I do know for a fact that Gambia there is enormous amount of careers that are not being exploited in Gambia. A lot of sectors are there that are not being exploited. But is it possible to explore those sectors without the system change? There lies the question that we need to find an answer to. And to my belief, that is not possible. Individuals who go back to Gambia without resources and knowledges, what they acquire outside, they go back to Gambia to establish something. The system will always break them. It's not people breaking them, but it's a system that is not allowing them to breathe in, to able to establish something that is meaningful. So I think the problem here for Gambia about the career issues is not just about what is available, what is not available. Gambia is a small country. There's a lot of things we can explore, but the system is very much narrow. But how do we free the system? How do we build the system? That is why the question is supposed to lie. The first thing is supposed to start from our education sector. Education is supposed to be about relevance. What is relevant to us? What is relevant to our realities? What is relevant for advancement? We need to build the system based on that. And doing that, you need to allow people to be innovative in their own ways to choose to explore their hidden potentials, not the system to decide potentials for students, to cage them on where they're supposed to be. The system in Gambia, it's caging students to where they're supposed to be. You need to explore students this entire education policy in Gambia from the Ministry of Basic and Secondary needs to change this before the tertiary institutions. You go to primary 1 to 6, what do we learn from during that 6 years? It's questionable. Do you explore students to check into small things where you can be able to tap their intelligence lies? You try to orient them on that side as well. Junior school, what do we do? Instead of focusing on what vocational things at junior school, we are more focusing on things that do not make sense. SES, things I cannot understand what you are doing there. History is good, but how do you put those things into realities? How do they benefit people? Vocational, courses that are they are never been taken seriously. Now in schools, in fact leaving them outside. So doing courses that might not in fact serve them in a relevant purpose later on in their lifetime career. Senior school, you just be there doing science, maths, physics, chemistry. That is basic of what you do. But what is in that? Check other parts of the world. How are they exposing their students into? You can be able to tap their experience based on showing them the practical life, showing them things that are practical at the initial inception of their educational careers, to be able to know where their strength lies, to be able to identify and guide students based on that as well. But if you don't push students just based on their intelligence and just cramming certain things, yeah, that is what is dictating their career path. It's their results that is dictating their career path. The theoretical education we are doing that is dictating their career path. I think for me that basic foundation of it is strong for us to start on as a society. That is one major thing why we are not developing as a country, in my own belief. The basic education policies we have in place is not helpful compared to other nations, how their policies are. How do they were able to identify students their strengths where those it lies in? Maybe from kindergartens, you expose students to things that are relevant. But Gambia, they only expose us to singing and then eating, going home. That is very, very not how to start. Primary school, it's the same thing. Up to grade 6, what do we do? You cannot in fact remember what you do besides singing songs from primary school. Junior school, what do you remember from there? What were you able to decide as yourself in UBS in junior school that this is what I think I like doing? In most advanced nations, you will see even they will from junior schools, they will try middle school, they will try to identify what their children are good at sports, They are good at science, they are good at this or what, so you can try to orient them based on their high schools. You see, in fact, high schools are more of a specialized versions, whether you want to do this, whether you want to do this at the later part of their careers. But also it's a whole of a system that is compact together that people has to choose within, depending on their results. I think that is not the rightful way to start on as a nation. That needs to change in the first place. Relating that to career, I think one has to choose a job that you love doing. That you love doing, that you will never work for a day in your life. If you love, if you choose a job that you love, you'll never work for a day in your life, because it's something that you have passion of doing. It seems like it's a normal thing for you. That helps in personal development at all courses. It's not, or man, what I believe, it's not what you achieve, but it's what you have overcome in a career. But the society in where we come from, it's career, it's about what you achieve, but not what you have overcome. Achieving something could be in a short time limit. This is your interest, you have that. Maybe achieving that cannot be a continuous trend. But what are the hurdles you want to overcome to become something? That is something different that one needs to look at. Work to become, not to work to acquire. Find out what find out what you like doing best at all costs, and get someone to pay you for doing it. I think that's the best career advice one can give to someone. Find out what you are best at and get someone to pay you for doing it. Either it's on a personal private project, or it's you're working for someone, working for organization. But if it is something that you love doing all the time, if your life becomes easy, you have a career that is very, very sustainable. But relating it to what are the careers available in the Gambia, there's a lot of options to explore in Gambia, a lot of industries that are not exploited in Gambia based on the realities of today's world. But how do we exploit us as individuals, as students coming outside to a system that is enormously corrupt? People are not innovative in the leadership position to provide the system. It's about programs and policies that dictate a place. It's not always about the public sector, but it's the public sector that regulates the private sector. We all might want to venture in the private sector to bring innovativeness, or in the public sector to bring things there. But when the programs and policies and the system there is not supportive of that, why do we start as a people? Why do we start as young people without experience? Just mere papers, we are going back to Gambia. I think that we all need to do a great reflection on that area. It's very, very important. How do we break that system? Because it's almost practically impossible. People with experience outside. I know of a professor. He's a professor in one of the U.S. Universities. He went back to Gambia to apply for a post at the University of the Gambia. You know what happened? He's one of the allowance, his full allowance in the US was $700 just for the fall in a month. That is $35,000. It was the full salary in that position at duty. But he did went to apply for the particular job. They gave him an appointment to be there at 9. He went there, he sat to wait for them up till 11. They just came, give him a bottle of water, and then call him for a session. Full professor you wanted to, who is applying for a position at the university. You just have an interview with him less than 15 minutes and tell him we're gonna call you back. And they never did. We're talking about a Gambian who spent over 30 years being a professor in the United States, did his whole education, their postdoctorate and everything. With what that enormous experience and knowledge base that he has, he went back to the system, he got frustrated and leave. Where did people like us, younger kids, fits in that system? It's something that keeps me thinking all the time. Where do we start from? But I believe it's about the young people. We have the will. If there's will, we can change the system. How do we tap into our colleagues, their mindset, to educate them? This is the best way to move a country. Advance the level of civic education in the country to be able to guide one another. And one day, I hope only one day, when some of us are in positions, we'll be able to do the right thing different right now. Thank you, Raj.
Let me
Thank you.
add on to that. Let me add on to that before the next question comes. Now,
Okay.
think about structural engineering, for example. I mean, our bridges are being built by people and not Gambians, right? All the people not Gambians. And look at the kind of contracts that the state goes into. Even if somebody is giving you a grant of $100 million, do you understand that as part of a very good negotiation is for you as a country also to put up people who are going to be in strategic positions within that institution during the implementation of that grant. If that grant is for bridges, for example, do you understand how many other Gambians would have had the opportunity to see firsthand how certain decisions are arrived at? When it comes to measurement of whatever and whatever is supposed to be done in order to have a quality bridge that will meet international levels, how it should have been done, or it should be done on daily basis, getting to know that. Imagine that kind of an opportunity. Now, anybody who wants to build a certain structure in this country sometimes would hire the Senegalese and give them the contract, hire the Indians and give them the contract. Where are the Gambians? Our road constructions are worth hundreds of millions of Gambian dollars. Road constructions, hundreds of millions of Gambians. But where are the Gambian road companies that can build our roads? Imagine if we have one, two, three, four road companies of international standards. Imagine how much money would be retained in this country. And think about how much money we are actually giving to these international organizations. Imagine the OIC road construction or whatever it is, if that were to be the entire project of that were to be given to a Gambian company or two, three Gambian companies. Imagine the reward, financial reward that will stay in this country. So we have a lot of career area or areas that our people should actually explore. But the fact of the matter is, you know what? As individuals, we have very little influence over this. Some of these things are policy driven, they are policy inspired. And until and unless we go back to the drawing board, we wouldn't be doing justice to ourselves as individuals and to our country collectively. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mohammed, and thank you to Usman. And I hope every important thing, every detail, because everything said here is important to Gambians, and I hope it will have impact, especially on the youth who are to be the future leaders. So, Ibrahim, back to you. I think we can
Yes,
move on.
I was listening so keenly, man, because it was very interesting. I mean, them highlighting, I mean, that the issue is at the grassroots level, and indeed, it is at the grassroots level that led everyone, I mean, or all Gambians to be at least in, let me say, in circumstances that we are willing to set away and that we are willing to bring about some little differences, because this is one of the reasons why even that this war is being organized. But I think we have said a lot, and then aside from that, we have some comments, questions at the comment section. Perhaps we can get through that and then see what they have for us there, so that I mean, we can ask it to our beautiful guest.
Yeah,
So
sure.
let's see the first question here. This comment by Salif Songo, he said, when a mentor has a limited info, then the mentee becomes a victim. And indeed. So let me check out the questions and then drop them down here.
And Salif is very correct to say that. Salif is very, very correct.
Surely. So the next comment is by Kisima Sise. He said the Gambia have lost most of its brain serving other nations. What are your thoughts on this, or on those Gambians out there who find themselves on careers path of which the Gambia is lagging in? So this question goes to Mr. Kanye.
Certain facts are very ugly to state. Somebody who is an expert in his area has had over 10 years, 20 years experience in a foreign country. He is well respected. He has worked for the UN agencies, from one organization to the other. Some of the Gambians even worked at the level of the UN. Yet you come back home and you want to give to your country and you are insulted and disrespected at work. What do you think the person will do? These are hard realities. Similar to what Brother Osman made mention of. I had a one-on-one conversation with someone who also stayed for several years, over a decade in the US. He's trained in the US and all that. He came to this country, applied for a job somewhere, and in fact, it was not a kind of an application for a job. He wanted to help. He wanted to help a certain institution by offering his service for free, and they never got back to him. And you know what? I am telling you this on record. I am not kidding about it. It is something that happened, and the individual told me, Mohammed Kani, myself. He went to an institution and said, "What? I have expertise in XYZ. I want to offer my service for free." And the okay, we will get back to you. That's a very nice common saying in this country. They never got back to him. Similar experience I had yesterday. I probably sounded stupid to somebody. Someone told me that she's looking for a job, and things are really very hard here. Obviously, the person was working at a restaurant somewhere around the Bijilo Kololi end. Okay, so because of the Ramadan, they were laid off. They were laid off during the Ramadan, and since then, business has not actually picked up very nicely. So yesterday, I actually closed from work, and I went to one of the restaurants at Westfield. I walked in there, found a young lady, and I said, "You know what? Who is the person in charge here? Mone masuma boss with Efagina. Manako, okay, no problem. You people run a restaurant here. I have somebody who studied some cooking, gas guide or hotel school and so on." I said, "I am looking for a job for that individual." Mukhol Machikao, Manako, no, don't worry. I really want to talk to your boss, because this is somebody who can come and be part of your kitchen staff, work for you, but I am going to pay her salary. All that I need is the person gets a job somewhere, so that she can actually put her skills into practice, put her knowledge into practice, what she has learned in school into practice. That's what I just want. But if you can talk to your boss, I will be very glad that they get to me. All that I need is create the space for her. I will pay for her salary. And whenever whenever I have never seen somebody like that. Okay, forget about it. It's not important. But why am I stating this? Sometimes institutions are not able to offer internships because they just think that it is going to eat into their coffers. Imagine if we have some wealthy Gambians who are going to have funding, some kind of funding to support institutions, or the government, in fact, giving some sort of how do you call it? Some sort of what they call it, subvention, for example, to institutions that are able to offer internship opportunities for our students who graduate from the university. That is actually going to give them a breeding ground for them to be able to practice something that they have learned. Do you see that? So sometimes it is going to be individuals who will have to come on board, at least to leverage on the circumstances that we have and create opportunities for other people. Imagine somebody has gone to the hotel school. You pay a huge amount of money to become a cook, but the hotels, we know, is industry, is seasonal. After the season, almost half or three-quarter of the staff are laid off. You are a kitchen staff. Unfortunately, they have not been getting guests. You are laid off. You basically cannot do anything at home. You don't have the capital or the finance to start a street restaurant. You know what I'm talking about? So it is just about time certain people look at those kind of opportunities and say, "You know what? Let me also create an opportunity for you. If you can start a corner restaurant for the individual, to continue and gaining something, please do that. Sometimes starting a corner restaurant does not cost more than $100,000. Do you understand? But when they have their gala dinners, they are buying tables worth over $100,000 just to dance and eat and go home and sleep. Think of a stupidity like that. Spend $100,000 on a table for just one night. That money can start business for somebody, and 10 people will be employed in there. But you want a name for yourself? Key, Diu Sangam Mojenda Tabul Sangam, $70,000 is Nyutachulla. What kind of thing is that? This is what we have in this country. People are so happy to spend money lavishly on fashion shows. People will spend thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars on other very useless things, musical shows, jamboree for a night. And at the end of the day, our people are suffering. They cannot have job. People are finding it difficult to put food on the table. And we are content with the status quo. How many very good structural engineers do you have in this country? When it is negotiation time, just think about an opportunity. If Osman, the way Osman speaks, I am the student here. Osman is super intelligent, super smart. If I have Osman in the negotiation table, for example, and he's sent to Germany, and the negotiation is we want to have your people sent back home, probably Osman will say, you know what? We know you have technical universities here. Make sure whoever you are going to send back home is trained. Train them and see. When they come back to this country, they will quickly create opportunities for hundreds of other young people. But how do you think it's going to be when you have 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, 1,000 people waiting for deportation? And they are coming from countries that they have spent 5 years, 6 years in, some people 7 years without any skills. And you send them back to this country without skills. They are used to getting some money. Now they don't have money. Whatever it is that you gave them or you give them when at the time of coming to this country, after 1 month that is finished, you are already creating a fertile ground for criminality in this country. What has been the thought of our negotiators when it comes to issues of that? Hey, German government, Indian government, Italian government, we don't mind you sending our people back home. But you know what? Let us have a deal. You have technical universities. You have a fertile ground to train these people. We do not have that opportunity. Anyone that you are sending in, make sure he has skills, and we will take the person and see what is going to happen to our country in just 10 years to come. Those people will come, they will create opportunities for us. They will create job opportunities for other young people. They will train them in skills in a manner that is not easily found in this country. Do you know that apprenticeship is a problem in this country? I am not being condescending here, but let us speak the fact. Somebody who has gone to learn tailoring in Senegal, after spending 5 years, is likely going to do better than our apprentices who have done tailoring in this country for 7 years. Because hardly our people give so much value to apprenticeship in this country. You are an apprenticeship for tailoring. After 1 year, nga fog ni denga am halis. Danga dem si sa brother nga ko may jendal ma ñaari machine. Ñu jendal la ñaari machine yaa ngi am benn néeg bu ndaw rek nga you say ñaari machine. I have started a tailoring workshop. You go on Facebook and then Diu Sangam is here, expert in expert. What boy? And then you go there, give him a contract. Before you realize it, everything is messed up. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. You do. When it comes to carpentry, they are better. I was talking to somebody who operates a bakery in this country. This was a conversation just about 2-3 weeks ago, because somebody reached out to me from Sweden and said she wanted to do a bakery in this country and let me do some market survey and advise her. So I reached out to a young person who started a bakery in this country not long ago. And when we had a frank conversation, Monema, the pastries actually work even more than bread in this country. I was like, yeah, what are you talking about? Monema, yeah, pastry sounds very well. Monema, but our people are not very good at it. Monema, I had to hire a Senegalese to work for me at my bakery. You know what? I felt really, really very sad. Monema, some of the bakeries around, they come around. Ikana ikajibe na mwoka kenyaming. But when they go back to repeat it, they cannot do it better. So when it is time to speak the facts to us, we have to face the realities as they are. Otherwise, we cannot develop this country on theories. It has to be practical, man. And I don't know whether I am losing my cool. Usman is laughing at me. Oh God.
No, I'm actually enjoying the conversation. Definitely, I am.
Theories
These are
don't
just
build
basic
nations.
facts about system.
Theories don't
They
build
are just facts.
nations. It is practicals that build
Uh,
nations. Let us begin
Absolutely.
to have fun conversations. Let us begin to have good negotiations. Negotiators for our country at international level. How many Gambians worked at the UN? You know? Now, what do they do when they come to this country here? They get frustrated. Some of them go back home to where they call home. Sadly, this is the
To me,
reality.
if I can chip into that point, the issue here is we have Gambians that are well educated outside. Those are facts. But why is it that they are not being able to integrate the system? We have a system, the chief executive of a country comes from a political motive. People elected, electors have to decide who to be in that position. The guy will select in his cabinet Kohanade is supposed to be able to score out technocrats across the world, give them equal opportunities to serve the nation, or provide policies that will help enable them to be able to establish themselves in the private sector. But it's not just difficult in the Gambia to integrate the public sector, but to establish something in the private sector is a problem. Now, in this case, where do we start as a nation? Do we start to have a sense to educate the masses on their political decision they are going to make that will have impact in the private sector? Or do we forcefully enter the private sector to be able to get control of what we want as a society despite the central government is not going? These are two options that we could have explored. It's a very hard place in Gambia to be as information is coming out from there. Seeing evidences, people will go there to establish something, they get frustrated and then leave. But do they need to be a little bit patient to establish something? Do we need to support one another, partnerships in the private sector to create jobs for individuals who do not have them, to explore options without the public sector? But we are seeing industry like Julburu, they fail because of the negligence of central government. Though that industry was one of the biggest employers in that country, but they had to move to Senegal because of the policies central government put in place. We always talk about Gambians are not having contracts from the central government. But how do you earn a contract when you're not established in the country first, in the first place? The system is corrupt. But why is it that other companies or foreign companies have been able to establish themselves in the country and Gambians are not? That is a question we need to ask ourselves. That shows that there is a lot of corruption at play, unfair play. There are a lot of interests of certain individuals that are dictating their interests over the interests of the nation to some extent. And that is hindering our development pace. So where do we move from this place? To me, all the time it's about the system. We have to go back to the drawing board. How do we sensitize our people? Who do we put in those places? An individual who is a technocrat who knows has the vision of the Gambia. The guy is well-sounded minded. He's at least has a decency to accommodate knowledge from other people. Put them in a position they will be able to put proper in technocrats. Give equal opportunity to Gambians. We have Gambians in a lot of positions outside the world who are doing immensely, well in those positions. When they come back, Gambia is a very small country, very, very small, with a very small population. We can develop that country within a matter of seconds. But only when we have the right people in the right position, right policies. It should be always about the policies in the first place. But when we do not have the policies in that place, despite how much energy or thing we try to do in the private sector, it's not going to work. The dynamics of the markets needs a proper study. Policies has to be established. How do we dictate how these places to go? How do we make Senegal When you look at their history, that was one point in time when the government wanted to re-establish their business spaces. They give out loan to Senegalese businessmen on a condition that your business succeed, you will not pay back the loan you take from the government, but you fail, you're going to pay us back. So people who take those loans, they were able to establish something. Policies were there to guide them from the central government. They were able to develop the private sector, create jobs for their people. That is what the government, the purpose is for that. How do you make life easy for people? You don't have to do all of it from the central government. But how do you put policies and support in the private sector as well to help develop those people? Policies has to be there. The right people has to be in the right position. But where do we comes in as a young people? The last election, almost 65% of the registered voters were young people. President Barrow won with 53% of the votes. What is the role of the young people when it comes to certain things? We really need to educate ourselves, have the mindset that we can do this, we can change this. It's not always supposed to be the normalcy. The normalcy is not working for us. We really have to change to something else. But we have the people outside. The system is not supporting. Maybe our focus now should not be about what I can do as an individual, but what can we do collectively to change the system for us to be able to bring in what we want as an individual. To me, I think that is where our focus is supposed to be on right now. Despite all we wanted to explore in the Gambia, when the right system is not in place, when the right people are in place to guide those people, it's going to be a futile exercise. We are all going to be, as you said, it's going to be a vicious cycle. Starting from one point, we're going to come back to the same place again. Business will start in Gambia, they will not continue, they fail. Why? Why are we not interrogating those things? Why is it that business cannot be established in the country? Why are we not supporting entrepreneurship in the country? Why is the private sector very not supportive or not complementing the government support to good space that we wanted to see? Why is it that government itself is not going in the direction that we wanted? These are general questions that we have to look into and find solutions to from the basic foundation, not just we wanted to inject in the system trying to do this as individuals. It might work for you as an individual, but it might not work for another individual. The system will, at the end of the day, will not move anywhere as we want it to go. So to me personally, I think we have to focus on the system, change the system, and we can be able to do what we wanted to do. Create the career paths we are thinking about. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Usman. I think that was a very broad aspect of the conversation. I mean, though it was the career, counseling program, but you can see how variables are relating here. It's very interesting, anyway. So the problem, as you highlighted, everything is at the grassroots level that needs to be addressed from the grassroots level. That is fixing the system. So I think we have a whole lot of questions in the comment section. So maybe we can just read maybe a few of them because we have exhausted the time that was allocated for the program. So, but let's just try to answer a few questions and then we move on. Isa, perhaps you can take us through those questions, please.
Yeah, and do you mind doing so? Because I cannot access the questions. I was
Oh,
not
okay.
in the live.
Okay. Then I think because we have exhausted the time and then it's prayer time over here, so perhaps we can just let our honorable speakers to perhaps give out their last words before we end the program here, hopefully.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Khan, you're welcome. I mean, we need your last words because we've exhausted the time and then it's prayer time over here in Morocco.
Okay, so he has said my last words. I really don't understand what last words you're talking about because I am
Well,
not dead yet. I am still alive. Okay.
I see that.
So I want to appreciate every one of you on this platform, Mr. Ibrahim Ajalo, Osman El Kamara, Aisha B. Job. I definitely have learned a lot from the questions that you have asked and the beautiful contributions of brother Osman El Kamara. Questions from the audience have also been very helpful. Their comments have been quite encouraging as well. We appreciate them. I am here sending my warm hug to all of them who've actually followed this program throughout. We appreciate them. We adore them. We love them. And for Gasam, I am going to say, keep it up and trust in what you're doing.
The whole essence of such programs is not having 1,000 followers at a time. The whole essence of this program is doing something at a time, one step that is going to change the people around you and eventually change the world. Imagine how many people would have the opportunity to actually watch this program and get to know that telecoms engineering is a very rich area that is available in this country. How many other people would want to call GTMI or probably go to GTMI to find out what they do in terms of the professional courses that we are talking about? Not many institutions are offering high level trainings on cybersecurity, but imagine how many other people will come to listen to this in the next months to come, or probably even 1 2 years to come, and they will want to go down to GTMI to find out what has been happening there. So you are going to be influencing lives even at a time that you will be on your bed sleeping and enjoying yourselves. So that is the whole essence of creating platforms where people can come and share ideas, especially talking about the realities on the ground. So I cannot but be very much grateful to have been part of this panel, and nicely to have been the student here as well. I am so grateful. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. It's indeed a very big pleasure, having you around. And then it was a very wonderful conversations in which we've all learned from, and hopefully, it's gonna be beneficial to all of us that, ranging from the information provided to the advice, and then all that. So thank you so much once again. So Osman, you are welcome.
All right, thank you very much, Ibrahim. And I said once again, I wanted to thank Mr. Mohammed very much. It's good to see you again from 2019. Thank you immensely. Thank you immensely for coming to us today, answering to our call to share your insight with us, especially on something very important to us as students who wanted to come back home as soon as time possible to contribute according to national development. So once again, thank you immensely. We have personally have learned a lot and then was able to relate in some of the ideas that you shared with us here are going to be very, very much helpful as some of us are set to return home very soon to join the bigger system. So, on that regard, thank you immensely for your wonderful contributions to our program. Honoring the invitation of Gasam, we are really much honored, and we hope to see young Gambians out there like your types. Many of them to be able to see us things with the other incoming ones. So I think that way, there is still hope for Gambia. There is still hope. So we wish to have much of your kinds available around to share with us. What is
Yeah.
available in Gambia. So we thank you immensely. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much
Thank
for
you very much, Mr. Osman. Okay, before Isaac come, I just want to make a kind request Mr. Kani, that if you have maybe a little bit of time, even though you are a very busy man, you can just go through our program today. There are a lot of questions for you in the comment section that you might, love to answer from our viewers there. So perhaps if you have
Uh,
time later, maybe just to respond directly to them there.
okay, so let me see. Let me see that quickly. Oh, quickly send me a link. Let me just click, and this screen is messing me up.
Okay.
Where can I get these questions quickly? Hmm. Oh, somebody help me. Can
Okay,
you can you send me the link? Let me just.
I can just display the questions on the screen, but I was
Oh,
saying, in case you would be free later, you can just go through our Facebook channel, Facebook page anyway, to just to check the questions
okay, so
there.
you want me to respond via Facebook as text messages, right?
Exactly, if that's okay with you.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'll endeavor to do that later today.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for that, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, I say you can help us with the closing remarks and thank our viewers for us, man.
All right, thank you so much. Then that brings us to the end of this session. It was indeed an educative session, and I believe we have a lot to learn from, and it's going to impact the lives of the youth, especially the young Gambians who want to develop the Gambia. So our guest once again, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. It was indeed a great honor to be part of this panel. And thank you so much and bye from us.
Bye bye. Have a good day, everyone. Enjoy yourselves. Asman, good to see
Thank
your face again, man. Enjoy yourself. Bye bye.
Thank you, thank you,
You
thank
too,
you.
bro.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you, Aisha.
Okay,
Bye
yeah.
bye.
Thank you.
thank you. Bye.